Hello, welcome to the channel. This is another video on the 2026 WAEC Literature-in-English past questions and answers. This is the third video. In this video, we are going to be focusing on the part 2, where we have questions that are based on unseen prose and unseen poetry. The instruction says, read the passage and answer questions 21 to 25. My right wrist began to twitch again, then the left. My wrist's life's quota is done now. The surgery had been successful, yet it was I who had not waited for the 50 days of resting my hands to heal fully before engaging in serious work, typing away and working hard on the Word documents and web designing. Now my arms are singing painful dirges. Resting them now would be closing the stables after the horses have fled. Now I can hear the chilling lament of each hand suffering the torture of ebbing functioning. Without functioning hands, how can I write letters to Sophia? Useless hands cannot dial Sophia's number. Breaking down in tears won't help matters, will it? What a way to retire. Yes, that is the unseen prose. Let's look at the first question on it. Question 21. The mood in the passage is one of A. Anger, B. Excitement, C. Hope, D. Resignation. In English or literature in English, whenever you are answering questions on mood, you have to go back to the passage to identify the pointers to the correct mood. Now let's see our pointers from the passage to determine the correct mood. Beginning from the first paragraph, look at the last sentence in that paragraph. My wrist life's quota is done now. This expression means that the two wrists of the writer, their lifespan has ended. Those wrists can no longer function as they are supposed to. Their lives have ended. That is the meaning of that sentence there. So this particular expression, does it give anger, excitement, hope, or resignation? It gives resignation that the wrists are gone. They can no longer work the way they're supposed to. It is resignation. But we cannot dwell only on the first paragraph. Let's proceed to identify more pointers from the passage. Let's go to the third paragraph. The second sentence. Resting them now would be closing the stables after the horses have fled. This expression shows that it is too late to rest those wrists. He should have rested them after the surgery, but he didn't. Now, those wrists are badly damaged. It is now too late to rest them. How can you be locking the stable when the horses have already run away? It is late already. All the hopes that those hands will function the way they used to are gone. There is no hope that those wrists will work again. And what does this suggest? Anger, excitement, hope, or resignation? It is resignation. The last pointer to justify our answer is the last sentence. Look at it. What a way to retire. It means those wrists, those hands have already retired. They cannot work again. The writer said this to indicate that the damage is already done and cannot be reversed. The expression shows that he has accepted his fate. He has resigned to fate. Resignation. What a way to retire. Resignation. Let's go to number 22. The narrative technique is A. First person, B. Limited narrator, C. Omniscient narrator, D. Third person. The knowledge of narrative technique in literature is based on the knowledge of personal pronouns in English language in grammar. Now, under personal pronouns, the pronouns are categorized into 3 persons. If you don't know this, please pay attention. Let's put this into context. In real life, when you are talking, gisting with people, the person who is talking at a particular moment is the first person. That is why when you are talking at a particular moment, the pronoun you are going to be using for yourself is I, me, my, myself. If you are more than one, then you are going to be using we, us, our, ourselves. The second person is the person you are talking to at that moment. And which pronoun is that? You are going to use you for the person. Whether it is singular, one person, or plural, more than one person, the pronoun for the second person is you. then you can have something like your, yourselves, yours, and things like that. But you will notice that all of them are within the family of you, Y-O-U. That is for the second person. For the third person is the person or the thing you are talking about. If the person is a male, you are going to use he, him, himself. And if the person is a female, you are going to use she, her, herself. It is a non-living thing. Then you are going to have it, itself, and all other pronouns within the third person. And if they are more than one, if they are plural, you are going to have them, their, they, themselves, and all of stuff like that. Now, let's come back to our passage. The question says, the narrative technique is A, first person, B, limited narrator, C, omniscient narrator, D, third person. Come back to the passage. Let's see. From the beginning, my right wrist began to twitch again. Take note of that person, that possessive, my, that is what? First person. There's another my in the first paragraph. That shows that it's what? First person. Let's come to the second paragraph. The second sentence there. Yet it was I who had not waited for the 50 days of resting my hands to heal fully. I, first person singular. Are you with me? So go again. If you look at the passage, you will see other pronouns like I in the third paragraph, in the fourth paragraph. Hence, it is first person narrative technique. That is option A. The narrative technique is first person. If it were C, omniscient narrator, or D, the third person, you are not going to be seeing pronouns like I, my, me. You will be seeing the third person pronouns like she, they, them, it, he, and other third person pronouns. But then in this passage, there is nothing like a third person pronoun. So it is the first person narrator. Number 23. The reference to the 50 days of resting my hands to heal fully shows the writer's, the reference to the 50 days of resting my hands to heal fully shows the writer's A, anger, B, fear, C, regret, D, wonder. We can find this in the second paragraph. It reads, the surgery had been successful, yet it was I who had not waited for the 50 days of resting my hands to heal fully before engaging in serious work. This clearly expresses self-blame and sorrow for the past action. The writer is blaming himself for not resting, for not allowing those hands to heal fully before going back to work. The tone reflects regret. Option C. Number 24. The dominant device used in the third paragraph is A, eulogy, B, onomatopoeia, C, personification, D, surprise. Option A, eulogy, is a speech or writing that praises someone. Onomatopoeia in option B is used to describe a word whose sound imitates its meaning, a word whose pronunciation imitates its meaning. Option C, personification, is a device in which human qualities, human characteristics, human actions are given to non-human entities. Surprise in option D, well, it's a common word. The correct answer here is option C, personification, giving human actions, human attributes to non-human entities. Look at these expressions. In the third paragraph, now my arms are singing painful dirges. It is not possible for the hands to literally sing. So that is human action, singing, given to non-human entities. Still in the third paragraph, the last sentence. Now, I can hear the chilly lament of each hand suffering the torture of ebbing functioning. Lament here is the expression of grief, which can only be done by a human being, not by a hand. Also, the hands are said to be suffering the torture. That's also personification in nature. The hands are described with human actions and emotions. These are clear examples of personification. Number 25. The passage ends as A, an anticlimax, B, a climax, C, an elegy, D, a satire. Option A, Anticlimax, it is a drop from tension, from high expectation to something flat or disappointing. Climax is the opposite of anticlimax. It is the peak of tension or emotional intensity. Elegy is a mournful poem for the dead. Then option D, satire, is the use of humor to criticize the ills, the evils in the society. And which of these ends the passage? It is option A, anticlimax. Let's see the last paragraph. Without functioning hands, how can I write letters to Sophia? Useless hands cannot dial Sophia's number. Breaking down in tears won't help matters, will it? What a way to retire. What a way to retire. That is a drop, a sudden drop from something intense, something important, to something disappointing. What a way to retire. A very disappointing end. That is an anticlimax. Option A. Let's go to the unseen poem. His being was in her alone, and he not being, she was none. They joyed one joy, one grief they grieved, one love they loved, one life they lived. The hand was one was the sword, that did is death, a death afford. As all the rest, so now the stone, that tombs, the two is just one. Question 26. The poem is about A, divorce, B, life, C, love, D, separation. The correct option is option C, love. Love. The poem describes two people who shared everything. They joyed one joy, one grief they grieved, one love they loved, one life they lived. And even in death, the stone, that tombs, the two is just one. This portrays an intense, inseparable love that even survives death. Number 27. The poem is written in the form of A, blank verse, B, free verse, C, rhymes, D, stanzas. Option A, blank verse. A blank verse is an unrhymed pentameter, but this poem rhymes, so it is not option A. B, free verse. A free verse poem is a poem that does not have a regular rhyming scheme, regular meter. This is clearly not the case of this poem. This poem has a regular rhyming pattern. Option C, rhymes. This is the correct option. Option D, stanzas. The whole of the poem is just one stanza, so stanzas is wrong. But then it is written in rhymes. The rhyming scheme is A, B, B, C, C, and D, D. Option C. The poem is written in the form of rhymes. Number 28. The major literary device used is A, contrast, B, inversion, B, metaphor, D, rhythm. Contrast in option A, it is juxtaposing, comparing two opposite ideas. B, inversion is the reverse of the normal arrangement of words in a sentence. Option C, metaphor. This is a direct comparison without using like or as. Rhythm is the regular flow of both weak and strong elements, such as syllables, in music and poetry. The correct option is option A, contrast. The poem repeatedly sets up paired opposites that are unified. One joy and one grief. Joy and grief are opposites to each other, so that's the contrast. It's death and her death. Yet, the stone is just one. Two deaths, yet one stone. That is also contrast. They lived together. One life they lived. They also died together. Life and death is also contrast. These are clear examples of contrast. The major literary device used is contrast. Number 29. The poet makes the point that the two are A, full of dignity, B, imperfect, C, inseparable, D, lovers of power. The characters in this poem, from their being to their death, were always together. His being was in her alone. This line means that the man is alive only because the woman is alive. In the second line, and he not being, she was none. That is, if the man dies, the woman too will stop living. That is the meaning of that expression. Let's come to lines 5 and 6. One was the sword that did his death, a death afford. This means that the sword that killed the man also caused the death of the woman. So they lived and died together. The two of them are inseparable. Option C. Question 30, the last question for this video. Rest in as all the rest implies. Rest in as all the rest implies A. Death, B. Recovery, C. Remainder, D. Silence. You can find that in the second to the last line. As all the rest, so now the stone. That tombs, the two is just one. The rest here means the remainder. It means all that is left. It means all that is left, all that remained of the two of them is just the stone. Not stones, one stone. Rest, as used here, implies the remainder.